Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. It's 8:30. And every night at 8:30, we get together because we don't have anything else to do. So every night we get together and we decompress for the day. And we get a chance to just kind of hang out and talk about whatever's in the news or whatever's on our mind or whatever's going on. Tonight, as promised, I made myself a dill pickle dirty vodka martini. I'm going to garnish it with a dill pickle gherkin in my Skull martini glass. I have no idea if this is going to taste like crap or not, but I'm going to give it a try. This is one of those stupid internet things that you see it in a meme and go, that could be really good, or it could be terrible. So I'm going to give it a shot. Fancy, straining. I don't know. It smells good, but I like pickles, so. Now, I always was told that drinking pickle juice was good for a hangover. So if you put pickle juice in the alcoholic beverage, is that kind of battling it out? It's kind of like when we were at the Tattoo the Earth tour at Suffolk Downs in 2000, and me and some of the guys from Slipknot were drinking orange Pedialyte and vodka, and we were like, at least we won't be hungover. All right, so we're going to give it a try. Did any of you guys make a pickle martini too? Here we go. It's kind of amazing. I hate to say it, but it's really kind of good. You have to like pickles, though. If you don't like pickles, I mean, it's definitely not going to be good. But I don't like olives, so I would never drink like a regular dirty martini. But that's good. I don't think I could drink them all the time, but I'll do it today. Not bad, whoever made up that pickle martini meme. It's pretty good. Science. We're doing science here in the War Room. So a lot's going on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Today, Women and Children First from Van Halen turns 40. If it is your birthday today, we always like to pay tribute to everybody who's having a birthday today because it's kind of hard to have a birthday party and hang out with your friends. You're sharing your birthday today with Diana Ross, Steven Tyler, Fran Sheehan from Boston, and James Iha from the Smashing Pumpkins. Can you believe Steven Tyler's 72 today? It's crazy. So happy birthday if it's your birthday today. I had to take it easy on that though. Whew. That'll get you. You've also made it 15 days without Boston sports and 10 days without Tom Brady. So keep it up. You're doing okay. Today was supposed to be opening day for the Red Sox. They were going to be in Toronto, not opening day at Fenway. But and also today, not a great headline, but the United States now has the most coronavirus cases in the world with over 82,400, surpassing China's total so far. So that's not great. Also on this date, Eazy-E died on this date in 95, and Randy Castillo, drummer extraordinaire, died of cancer on this date in 2002. So that's a lot of what was going on. Did you hear that James Taylor donated $1 million towards supplies? Taylor Swift has been going through social media and seeing her fans that have been having financial trouble, and she's been reaching out to them and sending them $3,000 checks, which is insane. It's crazy, but awesome. Bill Belichick was nominated for a Sports Emmy for his work on the NFL 100, which is pretty interesting. And this is crazy. More than 150 Boston healthcare workers have tested positive for the coronavirus, from Mass Gen to the Brigham to Tufts and Boston Medical Center. So obviously, those supplies, the PPE, the personal protective equipment that our healthcare workers need, thankfully people like James Taylor are stepping up and donating big money to try and keep them safe, because they're obviously putting themselves at risk if 150 of them have tested positive because they've been at work. So not exactly the best headline. So last night, after we got done hanging out, I had another glass of sangria, which was probably not the best idea. And at like 1 a.m, I took Wednesday, my little pug, outside to pee so that I could go to bed. And I went outside and literally almost watched Wednesday pick a fight with the biggest friggin' porcupine I've ever seen. This thing looked like a black beach ball on the grass. And Wednesday got a whiff of it and went after it. And I had to snag her back with the leash because the thing was about 3 times the size of Wednesday and obviously would have kicked her ass. So we almost had a significant problem with Wednesday, the goth pug, last night with the porcupine. And those would not have been good pictures on her Instagram. At first, I was like, am I drunk? Or is that a giant black beach ball on the grass? And then as I'm looking at it, got up and started moving. And I was like, oh my God. And Wednesday's got these big, giant, bulbous pug eyes, which just would not have fared well in a battle with a porcupine. So that happened last night. Today, I did more laundry and I vacuumed my whole freaking house. The irony of this whole thing is that we are all going to have the cleanest houses that we've ever had, and no one can come over to visit to see how clean it is, so no one will ever believe us. But I spent all this time vacuuming today and have been cleaning stuff and organizing my closets, and there's nobody here to see it. But trust me, it's clean. I wanted to show you the shirt I'm wearing tonight. I opted not to wear a retro concert shirt tonight because today is also a somber anniversary. So I wanted to show you this. It was 6 years ago tonight, which I cannot believe. 6 years ago tonight was the 9-alarm Beacon Street fire down in the Back Bay, where Lieutenant Ed Walsh and firefighter Mikey Kennedy were killed in that blaze. And it's one of the things I want to talk to you guys about tonight in the War Room, and that's Mikey's shirt, Dork Strong. Because while I didn't know Lieutenant Walsh, I did know Mikey Kennedy, and he did a lot of work with the Boston Firefighters Burn Foundation, which I also did. And I may have auctioned him off at a bachelor auction with firefighters by making him take his shirt off and do push-ups with me laying on his back. Might have happened. I love telling the story. I'm not going to, say that Mikey and I were the best of friends, but we were friends, and he's a guy that I just loved, and he was one of those guys that you didn't have to see him all the time, but when you saw him, it was like you saw him yesterday. And we were at a Firefighter Burn Foundation function at the Harpoon Brewery the night before the fire. And they had made the decision that they were going to forego the bachelor auction as the firefighter fundraiser, and instead we're going to do a pinup calendar. And Mikey had either volunteered or been voluntold that he was going to be in the calendar. And if you've ever been to the Harpoon Brewery, they make the best pretzels that you've ever had. And you get these big beer pretzels with the beer cheese, and of course it's the brewery, so you get all of the tasting beers. And we were there with representatives from burn foundations from different fire departments from around the country. And it's something that they did every year. And Mikey worked at the fire station on Boylston Street, which is right at the corner of Hereford where the marathon turns. And all of the firefighters from the different burn foundations were staying at the hotel around the corner from that firehouse. And I was eating one of those pretzels. I had gotten off the air. I was doing afternoons at the time, and I had gotten off the air, and I was eating this pretzel. And I was like, oh my God, Mikey, you got to have some of this pretzel. And he was giving me this speech about how he was cutting out on carbs because he wanted to be all buff and have a six-pack when he did his photo shoot for the calendar. And so I remember, and the picture is hilarious, rather than take a picture with Mikey, I took a picture of the friggin' pretzel because it was so good. So later on that night, we all ended up going out to a bar kind of near the hotel where all of the other firefighters were staying from around the country. And at the end of the night, I had parked on Hereford Street, right around the corner from the firehouse. And at the end of the night, Mikey and another one of my firefighter friends insisted, because that's how they were, or how they are, on walking me to my car. And Mikey gave me this sloppy cheek kiss And I was like, ugh, Mikey, disgusting. You're all over my face. And he gave me a big hug. And him and Danny said, text us when you get home. They, make fun of me that I didn't live right downtown Boston and that, oh, you're driving back to Guam. And they said, just do us a favor and text us when you get home so we know you got home okay. And so I did that. And then the next day I was in the studio and was on the air when the news broke about the fire. And knowing that the fire was in the Back Bay on Beacon Street along the Charles, I knew that Mikey was working. Along with a lot of other guys that I knew from that firehouse. And, we've talked about a lot of the most memorable days. The last couple days that we were on the air at AF, Mike Shue and I were talking about some of the most, memorable days that we were ever on the air, both good and bad. And I was in the studio for a lot of great things, a lot of amazing things. But I was also in the studio on a lot of tough days. 9/11, obviously, the day of the marathon bombing. And I was on the air during the Beacon Street fire. And I had to go on the air and say that we had lost firefighters in that fire. And I knew that one of them was Mikey. And that will be, no matter where my career goes from moving forward, one of the hardest days ever, because I had been with him the night before. And, like I said, I didn't get to see him all the time. We didn't hang out all the time, but he was one of those guys that, was just, when you saw him, it was like you saw him yesterday. And he was just such an amazing guy. And I could not let today pass without commemorating his sacrifice, and obviously the sacrifice of Lieutenant Ed Walsh. And so I'm going to ask all of you guys that are joining me for a cocktail in the War Room tonight, if you guys could raise a glass for firefighter Mikey Kennedy and Lieutenant Ed Walsh, because it's been 6 years and the world is crazy right now. But in Boston, we don't forget. And we definitely don't forget our heroes. And so this is for you, Mikey. And for you, Ed. So that is why I wore my Dork Strong shirt tonight. And then I always promised you that every night, I show you different things that I have in the War Room. And so I have some funny things, and I have some sentimental things, and I have some serious things. But the things that I keep in the War Room are this patch that was gifted to me. And at the funeral, at Mikey's funeral, one of the Boston firefighters, I took the day off of work, and one of the firefighters gave me his badge because he just wanted to let me know how much it meant to him and his guys that I was there with them that day, supporting them. So I kept it. And then I also kept the memorial card from his funeral. So people are commenting that they knew Ed Walsh, and everybody that has ever, known him or knew him just talks about what an amazing man he was. And I wish that I had known him, because everybody just talks about what an amazing guy Ed Walsh was. I can only tell you what an amazing guy Mikey Kennedy was. And I know that he has got a lot of firefighter brothers that are mourning his loss today. He has a lot of his fellow Marines that are mourning his loss today. So I just wanted to make sure that today's anniversary didn't go by and that we didn't commemorate them. And I know a lot of his friends are watching, and I love you guys. So thank you for helping to toast those guys today. Last night, you asked me to tell that Aerosmith story last night. I should have waited till today because it's Steven Tyler's birthday today. Somebody had asked, there was another story that you guys had asked me to tell you, and now I can't remember what it was. I'm sorry. I got talking about Mikey and I kind of lost my train of thought. But I had a story that I wanted to tell you tonight. It seems to become this new thing where tell you guys a weird story every night, and I'm trying to remember what it was that I was going to tell you tonight. A lot of people are still asking about the big gig. We're waiting on information, and when I say we, I mean Mike Shue and I. We're waiting on information because we had been asked to host the show, and we just don't know what's going on yet. So as soon as we get some information, we'll obviously pass it along to you. I think word's going to come sooner than later on what the plan is. I just don't know what it is yet. So as soon as we know, we will let you know. So last night after I talked to you guys, I got suckered into a video chat on Zoom with a bunch of my friends. And have you guys gotten drunk in a Zoom video chat with your friends yet? I've done it a couple of times, and it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of like what we're doing, but like when you start, when you're doing it with just a close group of friends, it gets a little crazy. And that's what happened last night. Then I watched that movie Bombshell, which was great. And then I went outside with Wednesday and almost watched her get into a fight with a giant porcupine. Somebody just commented, why do I hear a clock in the background? So I don't know if you can see it up there, but see the clocks? I have them set to different times. So I have a Boston clock, I have a Baghdad clock, I have a Kabul clock, and then I have another clock that I change based on where loved ones are if they're deployed. So I change that clock depending on if someone's out of the country in a different time zone. I change that one so that they always have their own time zone in my house. So it's not one clock you hear, it's 4 clocks. And they're click, 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 click. So when it gets really quiet in here, you can hear the clocks. But I don't even notice it anymore, but it's funny that you guys can pick it up on the phone. So Arcel is asking how I'm doing. I'm doing okay. Every day I'm trying to just do different stuff. Obviously, job hunting in this situation is not exactly the easiest. Every day I make a list of things that I want to do that day, whether it be tasks around the house I haven't tackled yet. I've done more laundry and folded more clothes. I've dusted and vacuumed pretty much everything in this house. And I've just been really trying to stay motivated and to just do different things, every day. So to try and keep my spirits up, but it's hard. I've been getting a little testy and have had some short conversations, meaning, short-tempered conversations, because I think everybody is just on edge, and it's hard when you're disagreeing with people and you can't, talk to them face to face. It's hard when you miss people when they're far away and you can't see them. You guys have commented multiple times on being separated from loved ones, especially kids that have divorced parents and they can't go back and forth, and there are parents that can't see their kids. And so it's just, it's tough, but compared to, the people that are working crazy hours, or like we were saying, the 150 healthcare workers in the Boston hospitals that have now tested positive for the coronavirus, or all of the patients that are separated from their loved ones, I have it pretty easy. I've said it a bunch of times. I either picked the absolute best time to lose my job or the absolute worst time to lose my job. And I bounce back and forth between the two. I know that the House is supposed to be voting on the relief package, and if they can all settle on what's going to be in the package, the president said he's going to, sign it right away, and they're saying once it's signed, it might take like 2 weeks for the relief from the government to start coming. So I know that there's a lot of local businesses, and I think 3.2 million people applied for unemployment last week or this week, which is just, unprecedented. So I'm just trying to do everything that I can to remind myself that I could have it a lot worse, and to keep myself in check and make sure that I keep things in perspective. And that seems to be helping me a lot. Right now, everybody in my family is healthy and safe. I'm not running out of toilet paper. I really consider myself lucky right now, even though Normally I would be considered an essential worker and would be at the radio station doing everything I could with Mike Shue to keep you guys informed and to keep you, you know, entertained. Dan just said New Hampshire hasn't shut the state down yet. Yes, they did. They announced today. It goes into effect tomorrow night at midnight until May 4th. So you guys are going to be just like Massachusetts, our neighbors to the north, as of tomorrow night at midnight. So let's see. The Red Cross needs volunteers in Boston, says Jerry. We talk about it every night. Obviously, the Red Cross needs volunteers. They need blood donations. There are shelters around New England that need fosters for animals, and they are staying open for private appointments for you to go in and possibly adopt a new family member. So, you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to spend some time looking to see where I could go and volunteer, because it is kind of difficult to be healthy and young and physically able and feel useless, which I don't know if any of you guys feel that way, but that's how I feel. And so, it would be nice to at least feel like I was doing something. I don't know if you guys know, but you know that I come from a military background, but I grew up in a family of first responders. My dad was a firefighter and an EMT, and my mom was a registered nurse for over 40 years. And so, I grew up watching my parents have to leave to go. I remember the civil defense that we used to have, all of the volunteer civil defense. My mom, when we were little and the blizzard of 78 happened, my mom got picked up on a snowmobile by the civil defense and taken to the hospital to work for like 3 days because they couldn't get nurses in there, because nobody had front wheel drive or 4-wheel drive or anything in the 70s. And so I grew up, with my whole family doing these kinds of things. And so, it's kind of hard to feel like, you're not doing anything and that you feel kind of useless. So, to everybody that is essential, to everybody that is working, and I don't just mean medical workers and first responders and military, but, we talk about it every night. The truckers, the people that are working to keep the stores open so people have access to supplies. There are just so many people, the trash collectors and the recycle collectors and, everybody that's maintaining the utilities. Can you imagine if we were going through this and had no electricity or no water or no internet? At least we have those things so that we're able to communicate and see each other and talk to each other and kind of swap ideas and be able to reach out for help if you needed it, or be able to offer help to someone that did need it or does need it. So I think all of us could kind of be reminded a little bit that it could be a lot worse. At least we're sitting here right now drinking dirty pickle martinis in my war room. So there you go. And all of the people that are continuing to deliver all of the packages, the postal carriers, the UPS guys, the FedEx guys, you guys are just all amazing. And somebody's reminding me right here, Shannon Knight, the mental health providers. There are thousands of mental health care workers that are working remotely because there are people that suffer from a host of different things, whether it be social anxiety or depression. And these mental health care workers are making themselves available for people to reach out and get help in the way that they need it, professional help in the way that they need it. And, again, there's some of the unsung heroes that are just working crazy hours and marathon shifts just to try and make sure that everybody else is okay. So, to all the people that are maintaining the cell phone network. It's just, there are so many people to be thankful for and to be grateful for. And for the rest of us, if we're not able to contribute to the cause in some way, if we're not able to volunteer, if we're not able to donate PPE or money to help in any way, then it's our job to just get the hell out of the way and to not make ourselves part of the problem and to not get sick, so that we're at least doing our part to not overwhelm the healthcare system. So there's my rant for you. That's the long-winded answer to, hey, Carrie, how are you? I'm actually doing okay. I will tell you though, no shit, knowing that I'm going to talk to you guys every night at 8:30 makes things so much better for me. It's like you guys are my counselors. Just knowing that we're all going through this together every night, knowing that when I turn Facebook Live on at 8:30 that you guys are going to pop up and you're going to hit the likes and hit the hearts and send all of these comments. It really does help to ease not only the loneliness, but, just the sadness of the isolation and obviously, the loss of the radio station and kind of the loss of my purpose, at least temporarily anyway. So it's just nice to know that you guys are all there with me every night. So I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys pausing your DVRs, that you're pausing your Netflix and chilling right now. Or your Fauci and chilling. We did agree that when this is all over, we're going to commemorate Dr. Fauci with some kind of good, awesome, badass social nickname or something. So whether it's Fauci and chill or, stay calm and Fauci on, there's got to be some kind of thing. I just want a t-shirt with that guy's face with him giving the devil horns. Like, take my money and raise money for the Red Cross or somebody, but can we just get like Fauci t-shirts or something? Because I freaking love that guy. So how are you guys doing? How are you holding up? Have you gotten in ridiculous, stupid fights with people you love because you're stuck in the house with them? Has anyone had their dog look at them like Wednesday looks at me and is like, when the fuck are you getting out of the house? Why are you home so much? You're ruining my 8th nap of the day. Like, are all of our animals just like, do these people not have jobs? Are these people never going to leave anymore? And yes, Wednesday's asleep. She's probably exhausted from the nightmare she had about the friggin' porcupine she almost got into a fight with last night. People that are tuning in after the fact, you may have missed it. Last night, I told you that my drink tonight was going to be a dirty dill pickle martini because I saw it in a meme. Maybe we could call the pickle martini the Fauci. Oh, the dirty pickle martini might be the Fauci. The dirty Fauci. Just because I don't have a job doesn't mean my brain ain't working. Yep. And yes, I garnished it with a freaking gherkin. A vodka soaked gherkin. Oh my God. Take it easy on the vodka and the dill pickle martinis because they're kicking the nuts. Holy crap. Well, let me see. You guys got any more questions? Anything else you guys want to talk about before I let you go? Try not to fall down. Drinking these pickle martinis. If you guys have stuff you want to talk about, if there are links to places that are collecting donations or that are looking for volunteers, can you guys please start leaving these links in the comments here? Because like I said, I go through this every night after we get done, and I want to be able to pass information along to places that are doing really good work and that might be looking for some help for some of us to be able to volunteer. The Dirty Fauci-tini or Fauci-tini. Oh, we're going to come up with a good name for Dr. Fauci. This is going to be great. It's fantastic. So leave the links if you guys come across some businesses that are collecting supplies or just any way that the rest of us, a Dirty Fauci. Jeff Parr, so good. Yes. We're changing the world right now. All of us here in my war room on Facebook Live. So leave the links. Thank you guys for toasting. To Ed Walsh and Mikey Kennedy one more time before we get out of here. Oh. Whew. That'll do it. That'll do it right there. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you guys for hanging out with me live in the war room for the cocktails in the war room every night at 8:30. Oh, I didn't do the drink recipe. Yes. And no, it's not the dill pickle recipe. I knew there was something I forgot. I picked one out too. So I go through the bartender book every night and I try to find a recipe for you guys so that you can go through your liquor collections and see if you can make some of these drinks. This one was called the Knee Breaker, and it is Cointreau, Parfait Amour, cherry brandy and frangelico, and a dash of grenadine. And you shake the ingredients, strain it into a martini glass, and serve. And that one's called a Knee Breaker. I don't think now it's as cool as Dirty Fauci, but it's still pretty cool. So thank you, Wendy, for reminding me about the drink recipe, because I go and find one for you guys every night. So that would have sucked if I got done and was like, shit, I forgot. All right, that's it. Stay safe. My advice, as always, every night, don't lick anything strange. Wash your damn hands. Stay out of the way. Let all of the essential workers be essential and do what they got to do. Look out for your neighbors. Check in on the old neighbors that might live in your neighborhood that you don't even really talk to all that much. But just check in on them and make sure they're doing okay. And obviously, if you hear about anybody that needs a lot of help or needs some support, send them here. Either post the links or just send invites or set up viewing parties on Facebook with your friends and invite them to come and hang out with us for cocktails in the war room every night, at least to, get them connected, especially if you know some people that might be spending a little bit too much time alone and need something to kind of break up the monotony and could use a little love and a little companionship. That's what all of us are here. We're the AAF family. Just because AAF's not around anymore doesn't mean we're not a family still. So I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Stay safe. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Pickles.